Hey everyone, what's going on? Jamie Stein here. And I just got done watching the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. And I just noticed myself getting really excited. I noticed there was a lot coming through me. I want to talk about Orange County because I know a lot of people are over Orange County at this point. I know a lot of people are bored with it, they think it's done. I feel differently. I should say, first and foremost, Orange County is my favorite franchise of them all. It always has been. I think it always will be. I have so much to say about why I think Orange County is the true unsung hero of the Housewives universe. Again, I'm going to save that for another time because it's not the focus of this particular video, but I just want to say Orange County has many, many delights. And chief among them is Vicki Gunvalson, who is my favorite housewife of all time. Again, I'm not going to get into that now. I have my reasons. I'll get into that later. What I do want to address, though, is this specific season and why I think we shouldn't be too hasty to count it out. I'm finding this season to be exciting so far in that I think it has a lot of potential. Hear me out. I'm very drawn to the two new wives. I get a similar feeling off both of them that I got when Shannon was first introduced on the show. Not in terms of personality, but in terms of when Shannon first arrived, she just immediately felt like she had on-camera presence to me. She felt dynamic, she felt outspoken, she felt like a real personality. To me, she was a breath of fresh air from the beginning, even before any of the drama started, just because she had that kind of reality it factor that surprisingly, I feel like a lot of the women who get cast don't end up really having. I feel like certainly Peggy from last season didn't really have it. Lydia, is another one who never quite jumps off the screen. I would even say Megan King Edmonds is someone who never really felt like she had that screen presence that I want from my reality TV show stars. And I feel like both these new women, Gina and Emily, have it. I just think they're bold personalities. They read on screen. They're outspoken. I feel like they've got a lot of big personality, but they're not trying to have big personality. I feel like we're seeing who they actually are, and it's reading on camera. And for me, I don't need there to be fireworks in terms of drama right out of the gate. In fact, to me, that's when I cast a side eye at a new woman because it feels a little bit manufactured, like she's trying too hard to make a splash. I'm willing to invest my time and energy in someone who seems like they're gonna pay off down the line. And I think both of these women, I think they're playing it just right. Like I said, they've got strong points of view, they're dynamic, they're not coming in too hot, and they both, and this is what I want to focus on in this video, they both seem to have these incredibly let's just say it, dysfunctional. I don't like that word because it's so judgmental, but let's just use it. They both seem to have these incredibly dysfunctional marriages that I find very drawn to and very interesting. So I'm gonna touch on both of them very quickly. And I think it's so interesting. They're both in these marriages that where the husbands seem checked out. And so I just think that's interesting. If we look at Orange County as sort of a big waking dream, the fact that there's these divorcees, four of them actually, four of the cast members at this point, right, have been divorced. All four of the returning cast members are people who've gone through divorce. And then we have the two new women who are in marriages, but both the marriages are marriages where the husbands seem very checked out. Okay, so first I'm gonna go to Emily. So what I want to say about Emily first and foremost is what I'm really struck by. To be honest, I find her to be very beautiful. I know she has the Orange County, you could definitely argue she's overdone. She's wearing a lot of makeup. She's wearing a lot of clothes and a lot of jewelry for a casual night out for fish tacos. So I understand that her taste may not be to everyone's taste, but I find her quite beautiful to look at. She feels very sensual and sensuous, very full-figured, just very womanly in a very attractive way. And so it's interesting to me to watch her interact with her husband because the initial hit I get off her, just even in her first few scenes, is this is a woman with a very powerful I would say, feminine sexuality and sensuality. She just looks so full and lush, and her energy feels so full and lush. And so then we find out that she is in a marriage to this man who, as we learn, is Mormon, which I want to say in and of itself is not a problem. I know that, I don't know that much about Mormonism, but my understanding is once you're in a marriage, you're free to have a very fulfilling sex life. So it's not like I'm going to link a Mormon man with an inherent lack of sexuality or sexual embodiment. But let's also be honest, a lot of times strict religious upbringing is very much hand in hand with sexual restriction as well. And it's so interesting to me that the two of them didn't have sex prior to marriage. And their chemistry on screen seems very non-existent. I mean, that chaste kiss that they had at the end, and then he pulled away because he didn't want the lipstick on him. I think it's safe to say that Emily is not enjoying a really deep, fulfilling sex life with this man. This is a woman, right? If we're all responsible for our lives and the choices we make, right? This is a woman who chose to get married to this man who seems very sexually shut down, who seems to be a bit of a sad sack. I mean, he was just kind of a sort of a basket of dirty laundry at that dinner. And I will say this about him, and mark my words on this, what I really got from him was a deep sort of contempt and rage, like a quiet rage that he's not allowing to circle through or express and feel. And it comes out in this very passive aggressive cutting way towards her. And I thought it was so interesting that here she is expressing this very real and deep desire for for this kid, for this third or the second daughter. And I get that he may not want to have a second daughter with her, but what was so interesting to me was that he wasn't taking her seriously. Like, he saw that she was in pain. He saw that she was having an emotional reaction. And he doesn't have to agree with her desire to have another daughter. But what I found fascinating, that there was no impulse to hear her, to comfort her, to just bear witness to her pain, and that this was an unmet need, to take it seriously. It's like he refused to take it seriously. It reminds me a little bit of Schwartz in Vanderpump Rules. It felt like a man who was determined not to engage with his wife on a real eye-to-eye emotional level. So it's interesting to me that Emily has chosen this man who doesn't really feel like he can show up, that he can meet her in true, what we would consider traditional masculine energy. And as I'm talking, it's also interesting, he comes from money. He doesn't have to work. Meanwhile, she's the one with the work ethic. She's the one who's the lawyer by day and the event planner by night. She's the one who has the hustle. So it's interesting to me that she has drawn this man in, and this is the man that she has chosen to marry and to father her children. So where I'm going with all of this is, why would a woman like Emily, consciously or unconsciously, choose this man to partner with long term? My initial feeling about Emily is that there is a place inside her where she is at odds with her own deep, powerful, sensual, feminine sexuality and sensuality. I feel like she, in some way, for whatever reason in her history, feels like, and again, I'm speaking mostly unconsciously probably, on an unconscious level, she doesn't feel like she has full permission to be embodied in it and to bring in a partner who will support it and who will be in his masculine. I feel like there is a fear of surrendering to her true feminine sensuality and eroticism. And I feel like we see this play out with the way that she's created a situation where she's, in essence, wearing the pants in the family. She's got a husband who it seems is not really sexually meeting her, won't even sort of give her a real kiss on their anniversary, and won't even sort of rise to the table to hold her emotionally or contribute to the household income. It seems as though she is in this, what felt like a sort of a chaste, contemptuous marriage with a man boy. And I think it's even interesting that the conflict they're having is literally about birthing a new child. It's like she wants to step even more into motherhood. And again, she's got this partner who doesn't want to hear about it. There's a way in which he does not want to hold space for all of these very kind of archetypal, that's the word, uh, archetypal expressions of womanhood, motherhood, wifehood, feminine sexuality. And I do feel that this is reflecting some inner conflict within her. So I know I'm sort of going all across the board with this. Just to kind of wrap it in a bow, quick hit takeaway from Emily, kind of my sort of beginning of season prediction about Emily. This is a woman who's got deep, powerful, archetypal, feminine, sensual, maternal, erotic energy, and there's a way in which she won't let herself have all of it. She's brought in a relationship where it's certainly not welcome, and now we're sort of seeing her live out these choices. And my feeling for Emily, like if I were to work with her, if I were to sit down with her, I would definitely want to start having a conversation about her relationship to her own sexuality, her own sensuality, and her own idea of, is it possible for her to be in fully embodied partnership with a man who would support all of those aspects of her? And then what would that life look like? And what stories would it challenge? And what images would she have to give up? Yeah, so there's probably a lot of shame there. The other thing that I want to say about Emily as a footnote, guys, it's so uncomfortable for me when I hear her talk about how she wants her youngest daughter to have a sister because she had a sister and it meant so much to her as the child of divorced parents. It just feels, this is the thing, it reminds me a little bit of Shannon. It reminds me a little bit of Vicky when she was with Brooks, or even Vicky when she was with Dawn. It reminds me of Ashley Darby holding on to her relationship with Michael Darby. You know, it's like, or Luann with Tom. It's like you see these women, in this case of these particular shows, these women, men do it too, but this is the Housewives. So we see these women who have, like, they hold on to these images of what they think things are supposed to look like in their homes, in their relationships. And it's not actually based on, what I would call reality. It's based on some inner need within them that they're trying to get fulfilled. And it really concerns me because I wonder if on some level, Emily is holding on to her marriage because she wants to make it work with this guy for the sake of her children, because she wants to have another daughter, because she's convinced her existing daughter needs a sister, because she needed a sister. There's a way in which it's all about her and her pains and her wounds. And I just think that's such a recipe for disaster. And if you think about it, I think there's so many reasons why this relationship needs work. But what if she continued to put pressure on him to have this second daughter? And what if he caves? And then what if he resents her for it? What if that's the impetus for the end of her marriage? And do you see how, if that played out, she has suddenly unconsciously recreated the whole pattern of her childhood, where now her two daughters are growing up in a broken home and are going to need each other in the same way that Emily and her sister needed each other in a broken home. But unconsciously, Emily could theoretically manifest all of this for herself without even realizing it, because she's acting from this place of emotional wound and young emotional need, trying to get a young emotional need met inside of herself through her children, ignoring reality, which currently is, hey, I've got 3 kids with a man who seems to resent me and already has 2 kids of his own and is being clear that he doesn't want another daughter. She's not dealing with what's in front of her. She's dealing with her own young emotional need that she's trying to get, and she's digging her heels in, just like Luann dug her heels in with Tom, just like Ashley Darby is strangely digging her heels in with Michael Darby, just like Vicky dug her heels in with Brooks. Guys, if there's a lesson we can learn from the Housewives, Don't do it. Deal with reality. Deal with reality. My message to you, deal with reality. Please. Emily, if you're watching this, deal with reality. Before I finish this off with Gina, I just want to say to you guys, I've heard you loud and clear. I've received so many very sweet and lovely messages from people saying they want to hear more about the Housewives from me. Moving forward, it is my intention and plan to start making a lot more of these videos. Having said that, if you do enjoy these videos, what you can do for me to help expedite this process, I hope I'm pointing to the right corner. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Hit the like button below. The more subscribers and likes I get, the more it's going to be easy for me to just take the time and energy to make these videos on an ongoing basis. Also, I'm starting a specific Facebook group that's called Deep Dive with the Housewives, and it's basically a platform and a forum where you can come and be a part of a community that is really taking a deep dive, hard look at these women. I'll be there giving in my 2 cents. I'll probably do some exclusive content here and there, Facebook Lives and whatnot. So if you want a hub where you can kind of take a deeper look at the Housewives, go to Facebook, type in Deep Dive with the Housewives. It should come up. Join the Facebook group. And also, if you want alerts about when I'm creating new content like this, just go to my website, hollywoodreadings.com, shoot me an email, let me know that you want to be on my mailing list, and you'll be good to go. Okay, let's move on to Gina. I don't have too much to say about her. I think her situation speaks for itself. It's very interesting that, once again, we have a woman whose husband seems emotionally and physically AWOL. It's like you could just see the way she played this all off. I don't really know what he does. Yeah, he just sort of, I didn't really want to make the move. There's something very cut off about her. She's playing it light. She's playing it casual. Whenever there's a situation where everyone's kind of looking at each other cockeyed, not quite clear on the information you're communicating, and you're just kind of playing it off and not really acknowledging the sort of the reaction that you're getting in the room, there's a problem. There's a disconnect between what she's putting out there, how it's being received, and those kind of energetic disconnects, while they may seem like not a big deal or casual to you in the moment, it's the kind of thing later when you look back in hindsight with 20/20 vision that you're like, oh my God, how did I not see how weird this was all along? My feeling watching Gina sit around breakfast with her 3 kids, with her husband on the phone, not on speakerphone. I'm getting the feeling he's one of those husbands who does not want to be on camera, and we know how those situations go. We saw how it went with Dina Manzo. We saw how it went when Stassi's boyfriend on Vanderpump Rules didn't want to be on camera for a long time. It's usually not a good sign when your husband is not on board with such a huge life decision to go on a reality show, both because you guys are not aligned with what you're doing, and also because I don't know, there's a certain lack of support, it seems to suggest. Anyways, he's on the phone, not on speaker, and honestly, the feeling that I got from Gina in that moment was, this is a woman who actually wants to be a single mother. And this is based on nothing. It's not based on anything that I've seen on the show. This is just pure intuition. But what my gut was telling me in the moment was, this is a woman who kind of wanted to be a single mother all along. I think she kind of wanted a sperm donor. And I think there's a way in which right now she has exactly what she wanted. And so if I let myself feel into that a little bit, there's a split there. There's just some split in Gina. And I really want to say up front, this is, like I said, this is based on such limited information. I reserve the right to change my mind. I'm not putting this out there as I'm 100% right or even 50% right. This is me having watched literally one segment of this woman's first episode on a 45-minute reality show. I could be completely off. But what I got off that one segment was that this is a woman who wants to be a single mother, and the situation works for her. And I think in that place, there's a split. It's like this is a woman who wants to have the family, she wants to have the kids, but she wants to do it on her own. And I feel like the similarity that I'm feeling between Gina and Emily is that there is a way that they're protecting their hearts, you know, because as they say, home is where the heart is. I think there's nothing sort of deeper in terms of love in the heart than home and hearth and family, and how, you know, whom you choose to start a family with, and how you raise your family. And so it's so interesting to me that it feels like Gina obviously wants this family, and she, you know, I don't know if she really is a hands-on mom. That segment was it felt a little staged, you know, I'm you know, wrestling with my kids and I'm making them dinner now. But regardless, the information that we're getting is that she's a pretty hands-on mom and that she loves her kids. And this is obviously something that she wanted for herself. And it feels a little bit like she's protecting it. Like she's got this situation where she's got the 3 kids, she's got the heart, she's got the love, and it's protected from like the outside influence of the husband and father. And it feels like in some way, Gina, on an unconscious level, is scared to really be fully open. It's like she wants to manage it on her own. She wants to do it on her own. She wants to have the kids on her own. And that if she were to truly open up her heart to the full committed partnership, there's something there she's got to feel. And I think that she's scared to feel it. It seems like there's some sort of unconscious fear or image around what it means to be fully open to her heart in terms of like really setting up shop with a committed husband and father and shouldering these sort of duties with him as like real life partners. So that's what I have to say about the 2 new women. So what I want to say though about Orange County as a whole, guys, is like, don't count it out just yet. I feel like, you know I mentioned up front that Orange County is my favorite franchise. One of my reasons for loving it so much is that it's always a slow starter, and I appreciate that about Orange County. I appreciate that this is not one of the more like over-the-top sensationalistic franchises. I feel like these women don't really succumb to the pressure to do bigger, better, more. I feel like Orange County, and again, I should save most of this for another video, but what I want to say is those women are natural born storytellers. I feel like they know how to tell a good story. I feel like they know how to build a good story over the course of a season. And Orange County tends to start slow. They have narratives that build over the course of the season. I feel like these 2 new women have a lot of potential. Like I said, they're dynamic, they're big personalities, they're outspoken. They both have very interesting home lives that I think could play out over the course of several seasons. And you know, it's much like the beginning of season 9. We've just gotten rid of like half the cast. We've got these 2 new women coming in. We need to just give it a little time to integrate. We need to give it a little time to like organically build, and I think we've got the potential for some new life, for some new blood. So don't count it out just yet. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. I'm gonna make a video soon. I want to make a video about Bethany and Carol. I have heard you guys. I have heard people request it and ask for it. I'm gonna do it. I want to talk about Monique and Candace on Potomac soon. I've recently binge watched Vanderpump Rules, all 6 seasons, like within the last month. I want to get into that. And, you know, at some point I do want to speak more about why I love Vicky so much and why I love Orange County so much. So there's a lot coming down the pipeline. And if there's anything you want to hear about, let me know. Comment down below, post in my Facebook group, go to my website and email me. I'm so excited to be getting this train going, and there's a lot more to come. See you guys later. Bye.